Hi, all. We have a tag.
Yay, tag. The cat is involved.
The cat is like purring up against the microphone, so I don't know how loud he'll be, but he keeps like rubbing up against it, so you may hear some loud purrs. That would be a cat. All right, so this is the spring is in the air tag, slightly late, like a month late, but, spring is...
Still spring.
You got 3 months, so good enough, right? I was tagged by Cliff, Cliff's Dark Gems, and the tag was created by Uncommon Reader.
Does Cliff own gems that are dark?
Well, he's from South Africa, so he might, actually.
I'd like to see some of these gems.
Well, mostly because he also likes to read dark books.
I figured that, but I was curious about his jewelry collection.
Well, he might. I just read a book set in South Africa, oddly enough.
No one cares.
Cliff might care.
He doesn't. He told me he hates those books, even though I've never spoken to him.
And you don't even know what book it is.
True.
Cliff, I just read Cracks. You'll have to tell me if you've read it. I liked it a lot, but it's...
You do love crack.
It's set in South Africa. Anyway, so... We have no idea what this is. I haven't even looked at these prompts. So...
I never do. I mean, there's me.
Who knows what's going to happen? Number 1, Spring Chicks. Name a book that makes you feel warm and fuzzy. I'll go first. I would say most recently, Dungeons and Drama or Dragons and Dating. They're very, very cute. And they're just... the first one was like musical theater and D&D. Like, what else is there for me? And then the second one was a girl who kind of had just moved to a new town. And she was like D&D obsessed. And then, of course... She liked this boy, and he was in her D&D group, and they had rules not to date within the group, and it was, oh no, drama, and, they couldn't be together, but could they? And, yeah. They're super stupid, but they're so cute, and they're just, light and fun, and no sex, and no, craziness. It was just cute and fun. What about you? What's warm and fuzzy? Don't say American Psycho.
I wasn't going to, come on, give me some credit. I was going to say, obviously something that makes you feel warm, Fahrenheit 451.
That's not fuzzy.
Of course. Well, there is a dog in it.
Why did you say Bunnicula? That's at least fuzzy.
I do like Bunnicula. That's a good point. I'll go with... just because it's the best title, even though it's not the best book, I'll go with The Celery Stalks at Midnight. Probably the best book's the first one.
You said The Holiday Inn was.
Oh, yeah, Holiday Inn. Ooh, but that's more ominous and scary and detective-y than fuzzy. But, also, fuzzy.
Yeah, it's also Bunnicula, so... All right, number 2, April Showers, or Spring Showers. A book that is set near, in, or on the water. You go first.
Why am I don't have
You
any...
have a boat book. Just pick a boat
I have so many books. I just read Captain Blood.
Well, there you go.
There's a lot of water on that book. Not on the book. Maybe. But yeah, there's a guy, and he's a pirate dude, and also a doctor, which is a nice combination.
Water in the title.
Well, it's too late. I've already gone with Blood.
All right, well, mine is Penance by Eliza Clark. It's set in a seaside town in England, and it's very, very dark and depressing about these teenage girls who murder their friend. Loved it. It was fantastic. All right, number 3, Spring Break. Talk about a time you took a break from reading, and why? You go.
I take a break from reading almost every year, probably around the September to December range, because I start school and I do not have the energy to do any reading because there's too many words around otherwise.
I generally I probably went, I don't know, since I was 3 years old and I learned to read, I probably didn't go without reading until maybe 10 years ago. And then I sunk into a really, really dark depression and hated everything in the world. And then I went into probably a, I don't know, 5-6 year slump where I barely read at all. And I was just down on the world. And then one day Sir Tunk was reading a book and I was like, I miss books. And since then I've almost not gone a day without reading, but I haven't gone a week without reading. And now our house is back. We had gotten rid of most of our books because we got sick of moving them back and forth from houses. Well, neither of us wanted to move them. And the point is, and now we have all the books and now we can't move.
I'm the one to blame because I read that book that time.
Do you even know what it was?
I don't remember what I was reading.
It was probably some Stephen King thing. All right.
Fire and Blood.
Maybe it was Fire and Blood. All right. Number 4, Swallow's Homecoming. A book or an author you always go back to for comfort. I'm gonna say I have a few that I can pretty much feel at least, even if I don't love it, I'll at least like it. And I would say those are going to be Alice Feeney, Catriona Ward, Ian Ian Reid. I do like Hemingway. Salinger, he doesn't have any new books though.
He's almost dead.
Yeah, I'm thinking about, like, the reason I say, like, Alice Feeney, Catriona Ward, Riley Sager, definitely, because, like, if they have a book out, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it right away, and I'm probably going to at least like it, except the last Alice Feeney one was awful. But generally, I mean, that was one out of, like, 6 or 7 or something. So I say they're comfort because I feel like I mean, I could go back to, like, my Christopher Pikes and, like, my stuff that I've liked nostalgic-wise, but I think now, in terms of, like, books, I can, feel pretty safe. I would say probably Riley Sager or Catriona Ward are my definite, because I have not read anything I didn't like by Catriona Ward, and I think my worst rated book by Riley Sager was, like, a 3.5 stars. Okay, you?
Okay, I guess I'll go with Ray Bradbury because he's very consistently good. Even the stuff he writes at his worst stuff is still better than most other people's. Yeah.
Okay. Blooms, a book that starts slowly but blossomed to be one of your favorite reads. I'll let you go first.
Oh, I'll go with the boat book, HMS Ulysses. The first, it's like not super long book, like 550 pages, something like that. But the first, like, 250 pages is very much, here's how being on a ship in the Navy works. And it's not very interesting. But then it gets awesome. And you kind of need the first part to know what's going on in the second part.
I'm going to say Secret History, because I think, like, 30% of the way in, like, I really liked it for the first, like, I don't know, 5%. And then from 5 to 30%, by 30%, I actually looked at the book. I went back to looking at, like, people's reviews that I know. And I was like, okay, they really, really love this book. So I hate it right now, and I'm thinking of DNFing it. And I didn't. And it's now one of my favorite books of all time. So I think that pretty much is about as much of a turnaround as you're going to get. So I loved it. Hey, we gave each other those books this year.
Yeah, and I read yours, and I didn't like it.
Yeah,
and you're going to read mine, and you're not going to like it.
I probably won't like yours either. Okay. All right. Eggs in a Basket. 3 books you want to read this spring. All right, let's see. What do I want to read this spring? I want to read Night of Seven Kingdoms, because I know the show is coming maybe this year. And I also promised you I would read it, so I want to read that. I just got the Ken Follett arc for his newer book about, like, the building of Stonehenge. So I guess that. I don't know if I'll read it this spring, but I probably will read it before it comes out. And what else do I want to read? I might want to read I Who Have Never Known Men, because I hear that's really, really good. So that might be up soon. What about you?
I don't really plan my reading too much in advance. But I guess I want to finally read Bag of Bones. I'm probably going to read War and Peace this year.
A Shakespeare play?
And, yeah, let's go with Dickie Trips.
Okay. Oh, I love Richard III. That's one of my favorites. All right, Green Pastures, a classic that never gets old. You first.
Oh, it's obvious.
Right.
Badlands of Hark.
Well.
Everyone knows that from the furthest ocean to the tallest mountain, no matter what language you speak, no matter your experience, no matter your cultural background, everyone loves the Badlands of Hark. They say, hey, who are you, sir, entering my property, trying to take over my village? And I'll go, it's no need to argue, because we have one thing in common. We all love the Badlands of Hark.
I have 5, and that's because 2 of them are books I probably read like over 100 times and still love, and those are...
Is one of them Badlands of Hark?
No, one is Catcher in the Rye, and one is Christmas Carol. Well, I don't know if I've read it 100 times, but I've seen every version ever, like, and I love it, and I watch it at least once a year, and I've read it a couple times.
Like 9 times.
Yeah, so, and those I would say never get old. And then I would say there are 3 what I consider absolutely perfect books. There are books I've read over 10 times, probably.
Is one of them Dead Silence?
No, probably close to 20 times at least. And I've taught them, and so, they're books I really, really love. Yeah, one is Frankenstein, one is The Great Gatsby, and one is Fahrenheit 451. They are honestly...
You always complain about Fahrenheit.
All I said was the part with the mechanical hound was too stupid.
It's like 3 pages long.
Right, but the point is, I think I would call them perfect books because, like, whenever you read it, they're well written, the characters are great, the plot is just perfect, and there's not a point where you're like, ugh, this stupid. I mean, just like even in Frankenstein, I think it's a perfect book, but there is that stuff with like Henry for that period of time where I'm like, I don't care about Henry. Where he's like just moping around like Ireland or whatever because Henry's sick and like in
Henry
jail.
Dies,
right.
And then Victor's response is to be like, I'm sick for like 2 months.
Yeah,
I'm like,
so,
what?
But I mean, again, I've read it how many times, and even then I don't like go, oh, this part again. I just can keep reading it.
Not that long.
And I learned something.
It's probably like 12 pages.
I feel like all three of those books are every time I read it, I like pick up something else that I re-enjoy parts of it so much that I would have to say those. Catcher in the Rye is perfect too, but that's just obviously my favorite book, or second favorite book now. All right. My favorite book now is I'm Thinking of Ending Things. All right, 8, Pollen. A book or author you are allergic to.
Daniel Steele.
Okay, that's fair.
I only read one, but it's enough to know I can't bother to read anymore.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't like any more of her stuff. I don't know. Like, I don't think there's anyone that I'm like... I mean, there's people I've read, like... Because I have this thing where I don't give anybody more than 3 books. If I read more than 2... If I read 3 books by you and I don't like any of them, I am done. Like...
That's a lot of books to read that suck.
Right, but sometimes you'll be like, oh, I'll try something else by then. Maybe it was just this one book. Or, but I would say I'm not necessarily allergic to Stephen King, but I don't like him nearly as much as the rest of the world does, I would say. I think I dislike way more of his stuff than I like.
I think almost everyone does.
Well, he's written so many.
They just get stuck like I do on the stuff that's really good, so you sort of excuse all the horrible, horrible junk books that he throws out there.
But I like, honestly, even when I read his stuff now, I used to love him when I was younger, and even when I read older stuff, like I read The Stand, which is considered one of his best, and I was like, yeah, I'm not liking this. And I'm like, I don't think I like Stephen King anymore. I just don't think he's for me. What's weird about him is, like, I do still think he's a decent writer, even when I don't like his books, but there's a lot I don't like. Anyway, number 9 is Bonus, which is Equinox, to find 2 books on the shelf with the same number of pages and talk about them. But I'm not near my shelf, and I don't want to do that, so we're not going to do that. Let's just instead talk about the book we are currently reading and our thoughts right now.
So I'm reading The Only One Left. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's got a pretty good setting, but the protagonist is kind of a dipshit, so that's kind of annoying. I also started Richard II. I've only read the first act, but so far that's sweet.
I'm almost about to finish William, which I'm like loving. It's super scary and creepy, and it's like, so far, I mean, obviously I'll have to see how the end pans out, but I'm like, this is one of the best horror books ever. It's short too, so that's where I'm at, and we will tell you about those when we finish them. All right, tag others. I don't know who hasn't been tagged yet, so tag yourself. Bye.
Boop.